Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching GEEKCASTER, everything sci-fi, fantasy, and pop culture commentary. I'm Seven. We've got the one and only, the Buddha of the joint. It is Corey. And we've got the brain. We've got Drew. What's going on, guys?
Not much. How are you?
Good. Man, sometimes I wish we had cameras following us all the time. We got to do like a reality show or something.
On some Truman Show stuff? I don't wish that on any one of us.
Our conversations before the show and after the show,
Yeah, we have little candid, auto record moments for when we get into the combos that we had before the show, sure. But to getting followed around cameras 24/7, you guys don't want that. So none of us do.
This, we might have to end up just doing 2 episodes because this in itself needs a certain amount of respect towards it. I guess this could be almost like our Black History Month joint for real.
Yep.
So before we shot, I just want to give a tech shout out. This one goes out to Miss Dr. Gladys West, mathematician, who helped make GPS possible. She died at the age of 97 recently. So, shout out to her. Very thankful for, what she added in life to make our lives better. I know that I can't go to the mailbox without GPS, so I appreciate I appreciate what she did for us there. All right, so Drew, you sent this. There's a video, a gentleman's talking about, let's see if I could punch this up. This was really good. I know we're going to stay more on Killmonger and sci-fi fantasy stuff within this, but he was talking about the anti-black male tropes and how Hollywood uses these tropes to disrespect black men. And I thought that this is a cool conversation to have. And we landed on talking about Black Panther before the show. And let's start there. I always had an issue with Killmonger. And after listening to the guy breaking it down, I realized that it was more than just not being a great villain, because you justify his perspective to the point, do you agree with him or not? And Drew, you said, that's great. There's not a problem with that. That's what you said in the past as far as him being a villain or not. But after watching this documentary, not documentary, but this guy's take on the anti-black tropes, I realized that it's not just the villain thing, it's the angry black male thing. And if, Drew, you could give us a little bit more on that in your take, and let's keep going.
Okay, so the fellow I sent you guys, I'm not remembering his name at the moment, sorry, but he sent, I guess it was 6 character tropes or 6 character types that you often see black men portrayed as in television, cinema, fiction in general. And interestingly enough, you guys say, this is just your conclusion of it, abbreviated, was this is nothing we haven't heard before. And I don't agree necessarily. We've seen it. We're familiar with it. Mm-hmm. But when you have circles that talk about it and call it out for what it is, we do not see this. I'm sorry. I totally disagree. I think whenever you do bring this up, when it comes to how black men are portrayed in cinema, we always get bogged down with this message of, well, what about the black women? What about the color purple? What about the last conversation I had about the color purple came up from when, oddly enough, we were talking about tropes. This was in film school. This was in college.
Right.
And the young lady I spoke to about it has this image of how she talks about cinema and film and how men are portrayed. You notice there's this one-to-one comparison that you get where it's the oppressive patriarchal man, and there's like a direct correlation between black men and the patriarchy, which, if you want to get into the whole socio-political angle of it, it's not the same thing. There's a real oversimplification of trying to make it seem like black men are just the white male equivalent of the black community, which is absolutely not true. I hate this attitude that, well, if he's a man, he must be the oppressor. And I'm like, that's not true. But when you see how black men are portrayed, there's this very insulting, dingy crapshoot way that they will portray us. And when you I speak out on it. I have. And the comparison that I made was to this lady was, did you know that Mr. in the color purple isn't even a real character? When you look at the behind the scenes stuff in the book, the novel, there is no Mister. There's the terrible male figures that the main character in The Color Purple meets up with. There are white men that do this, but for the film, they needed to make a black guy be the Mister, the Gollum henchman character that we're supposed to hate. All that concentrated misogynoir, as like people call it, is embodied in this character who doesn't even exist. So when I'm in a class full of women that are talking about, well, men like Mister are real, I'm like, you guys are referring to a fictional character. You haven't researched this. You just need you need a baddie, not a baddie in the good sense. You need a boogeyman to try and like vomit this personage of a black man onto the screen. This happens all the time. I hate it. If people are aware of it, we don't talk about it. Would be my counter to you guys. We may know about it, but I don't hear anybody really outside of us and maybe a few others in the fringes talking about it. This is not.
That's where I disagree. That's why I disagree. And they've been talking about this for years.
Who's they? Specify, please.
I'm about to. So there's been skits on Saturday Night Live. Trevor Noah has talked about it. Comedian Roy Woods has talked about it. Amber Ruffin, she has her own show. She's talked about it. There's plenty of people who've talked about this, and I guess in the main light, we just haven't paid attention to it. So it's been there. You just didn't pay attention to it.
Now, when you say they talked about it, you mean the different tropes
of
how they paint black men within media and film and television?
Yes. They even broke down the last movie. What was the last Leonardo DiCaprio movie? One Battle After Another?
Oh, please. I just saw
it. So they broke that down.
I got my name for that one, but yeah, I'm aware of it.
They broke that down, how that was negatively impactful. But for other movies, such as Color Purple and Black Panther, this might be very controversial. But if you had to invent a character that, I guess, was punishing a black woman, we've seen white men do this all the time, right? Did you really want to see another movie of white men beating down on a black woman, or
Let's
did
make
you
it a
want to see
black
some
guy
dynamic?
instead. Let's use a black man instead.
So
that's
do you want to see
heel.
a scenario that most people are familiar with, whether white or black? Because they also portray that in the movie. When you have the lower class lives in the trailer or backwoods couple who are both white, and the guy is abusive and a drunk and blah blah blah, those stereotypes, it's the same thing. It's just a different.
Well, I would say this. The thing is, we're talking about, and whether it's an imaginary one, I mean the numbers and the stats point to it's not imaginary. But I did not know, Drew, and thank you for bringing to attention that in the book, the character's one way. So when they say, now we're going to make a film and bring this piece of work to everybody that might not have read the book and consciously change the race of a character, now I feel more offended in reference to that particular film, because why did you do that? You know what I mean? Like, what was the thought? But I don't want to lose the point of like the show. The show is like, we're talking about
tropes.
Talking about the tropes and the mentality behind it. Like when you create a film or any piece of work, there's some sort of vibration, some sort of message. So when people continually, even though we're supposed to know better, when you're continually making black men the jokester, you know, when we're the abusers, when we're the aggression, you know, and if we're not aggressive, because he mentioned this too, then we're totally sexless. Where you have a superhero, but you don't give him like a Captain America, the new Captain America with Sam Wilson, correct?
Yes.
Right? They consciously, all the other Captain Americas have love interests. How come this one didn't have one? It was just weird. It's when you add it all up, it looks a little suspect, don't you think? Like, we're aware of it, kind of, but then are we really? Because people aren't really, hey, stop doing that. Like, you're not hearing the actors or producers, you're not hearing other people in Hollywood say this is not acceptable. It's kind of like in the background noise of, yeah, we know better, but then we're not really pushing the the industry to do better.
Well, all right. I'll say this: as often as we see it, we the audience may be aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a vested interest to make that the thing from the inside. I've seen this too many times. And again, to the Color Purple joint, the woman that was based off in real life, they had to make up a boogeyman for this. There's a concerted effort to make black men look like this. Brass tacks behind all that, but all the academic bullcrap. It's like, no, we want you portrayed like this. You either have to be sexless. Nothing against gay folks, but it's like you can either be asexual, gay, or in a dress as a black man. And when it comes to the whole romance sexuality thing, I innately don't have a problem with it. But when that becomes the mainstay, when that's the only perception, then you have people walking around acting as, well, that's the standard, and walking around actively saying like that's how you're supposed to write black men. I start to get pissed. I actively start to get pissed. You and I are aware of it. We've all seen the character types. But again, when it comes to people calling this out, portraying it is one thing. If you do an SNL skit of it, okay, fine. You're making light of it, I think, more in my opinion. You're aware of it, but you're kind of keying about it.
Okay, I can give you a better
example.
The newest Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. If you watch it, it's an updated all black cast, and they use none of those tropes.
That's good. It's a start.
That's good.
I'm not saying that there haven't been like inroads. And to your point about the pit, because we can dovetail from that to there. It's not like I hate the show for this or anything, but the black male potential romantic interest, because we don't even know if they're going to meet up with Dr. McKay. She's one of the main staff in the show. She played by Brad Dourif, the guy that played Chucky. His daughter is Dr. McKay in the show. And there's this recurring thing with this season where she's like, I got to get laid. It's like, all right, so there's like a couple instances where there's this older guy, but then there's this kind of younger, ripped, good-looking black dude that's expressing clear interest in her. And where we're at the season, they're supposed to go on a date, right? The point that I raised before that is in this show, The Pit, they take the time to develop the patient characters, if only a little bit. You learn the ins and outs, the basics, what they do, how old they are, what kind of group they hang out with. This is a standard across every character, until you get to the black guy, in which we know that he wants to bang Mr. McKay and that he likes art. The only reason that they throw the art angle in is because they need to have a baseline for how they're going to meet up later. Outside of that, he's not a person.
That is a small description of what actually happened.
All right, but when again, there's this whole rest of the season that's left. They may add to him. They might. But until then, what do we know about this character, Corey? Because you're on the show. What do we know about the guy besides the two little points that I just enumerated?
Instead of just wanting to sleep with Dr. McKay, we actually see that she has a vested interest in not just getting laid. She was flirting with him back and forth. They had a conversation. She then ended up saying, I want to, take you out. I get off at 9. He's like, oh, at this art museum. And they, bonded over that again. And you can see how she went from, oh, I just need a night out to, I really like this guy. She starts blushing. She was blushing even talking to him. And you can see how, flustered she was. That shows, I guess, growth. And you're seeing...
But you're not saying anything about the guy, though. You said everything.
I know.
There you go. Thank you. And all that's fine, Corey. All that's good. But
I can't,
what have we discussed about the male character? This is all Mr. McKay.
Like you said, it's
what about
early in the season. But how the season runs, it's taking place in an entire day. And this one happened within an hour. So
2-3 hours of the shift. And I'll give you that one. I said it. Said it before. I'll say it again. It's still early in the season. Yeah. They may add to them. If they do, another step in the right direction.
I'm pretty sure they will.
We will see. We shall see. I hope so. I'd like to, because I kind of like the angle of, all right, well, maybe there are some people that actually are trying to humanize black men and make us more than just the beefcake, the thugger dugger dude, or the mister of the story. Really like to see more of those. So,
that's also what I wanted to say. The one thing about, I guess, social media that has been happening is a lot of people have been more vocal. With TikTok, we've shared a lot of information and thoughts, and things have happened. And since we've talked about this on social media, things are happening now. Now you have the movie centers, and shows are actually making progress. in how they depict.
Now we're giving sinners its due, fellas? Interesting.
I'm not.
Interesting
I still stand firm.
Now we're giving.
Let's not even go there.
Pound.
But go ahead. Go ahead.
Set a record. Come on.
Nope.
But,
okay.
but
It's a B movie, though, guys. What are we doing here? Interesting.
C+. Let's go.
Anyways,
but things are happening. You can see like how it's being portrayed in the media. It's slowly shifting, but it is shifting. There is change.
Yeah, I think
like
the problem is not.
I'm not impressed, but yeah.
I mean, things are changing because different people are behind the camera and people are getting a chance to just tell the stories they want to tell. I think that the biggest gripe is without dropping just names to be the names, but the prominent people in the game that have these weak characters and are still doing the whole trope thing. And I think his biggest gripe is not the others, but the black producers that are like still, and the black directors that are still adding to these things to the point where, there's some movies that made a lot of money and this and that. The tropes are in there, but okay, yay, they made a lot of money, or yay, they're successful, and we'll just let it go. But these subliminal characters, these stories, these images, they're very, very powerful. And just because it doesn't hit you over the head all the time doesn't mean that it's not affecting our youth. It's not affecting the way that other people view black men. Some countries, some towns, some places, they know black people by the music and the movies. And at least that's what they think, because this is what I see. This is how they are.
Are you guys, to kind of dovetail with that thought 7, Robert Townsend. Have you guys heard of him?
Yeah.
Director, actor,
Meteor Man.
writer.
Come on.
I'm
Inspiration.
just saying. I don't want to go off on this tangent.
Yeah.
People go, who's that? There was this film that he did ages ago. Was it Hollywood? What was it? Hollywood Shuffle?
Hollywood Shuffle. He did that with Key and I.
Was it the one where he's playing an actor?
Yep, he's playing an actor trying to make it in Hollywood.
Trying to make it as a black actor in Hollywood, and that film touches on what I think is very poignant points that are still prominent today. I think, as it goes, you have actors that are talented, they're ambitious, they have a drive to be in the industry. They get into the industry, and the roles that they have available for them are pimp number 5 and prostitute number 7.
Right, and that's
trick number 5,
right.
And that's it. And a lot of them, when you're hungry and you're trying to make inroads, we can dovetail into Wonder Man with this too. When you're hungry, when you're trying to make your way in, you'll play ball to an extent to get those inroads. Right. But it comes with, there's pros and cons to that. You do a great job as playing the thug, but at the same time, the thug then becomes deeper ingrained as just the standard for how you're portrayed.
Right.
I think that film did a good job of portraying that debate and that argument, and the scene where he's with the other brother.
Right. And
they're rehearsing their lines. They're up for the same role.
Right.
And he's just like, they have this great rapport, but then it's like, all right, brother. He's reluctant to do the role, and the other guy's like, all right, brother, I'll see you in there. And then he goes and crushes it, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of dog eat dog in that regard.
Right.
I get the necessity, but past a point, and with enough time, I think people have to break past those barriers. I think we see some of it nowadays. Definitely, I'll give you guys this. You see it more than you did in the 90s, early 2000s, 80s. Pick a decade, then you have stupid portrayals of black men. But I think circa 2020 now, if there is one upside, you do see more stacked twins. You do see more T'Challas and Killmongers, whether you like him or not. I still think he's a fine villain, whether you agree with him or not. You get more intricate.
And we said this before the show, and I don't want to go and then try to come back too later on it. The thing that made Killmonger itchy was the fact that it was you're basically blaming an African American male for not just his solution to his feelings and what has happened towards black people in America, but the fact he's so angry. You know what I mean? I think it's not just it doesn't come across just because he wants to burn everything down and be upset. It's why he's so upset. When you watch the movie, you don't really Am I making sense with that, or do you understand what I'm
No,
saying?
you didn't. That doesn't make sense if you watch the movie because he watched his father get murdered by this whole country that is technologically advanced, is superior to all the other countries in a very vast way, and so
But Corey, his anger, yes, it's pointing towards the direction towards Wakanda, but his anger really had to do with how black people were treated in America. And yes,
It's
the fact that you
well,
guys didn't come and help, but that's just a piece of it. The foundation is how they were treated. He grew up poor. He grew up, not having the education and advances. And then technically, actually, for him to advance to be the villain that he was, he obviously had to be educated and all these other things. So it wasn't even just that. It was the fact that people went through slavery, people, in America went through all this, civil rights and all these other things, and Wakanda didn't come and help. And all the energy, for the most of it, went towards the anger towards Wakanda, rather than just staying towards the anger of what he felt in America. Then, once he got the power over there, now I want everyone to pay for what they did.
when he
So
goes
that,
over.
so,
Okay,
Mhm.
so
yeah,
wait, hold up, Seven. So I'm gonna add a little zinc eye boost to what Corey was getting on.
right,
It's not just his anger at just the powers that be in America and in the West.
hmm,
It was the sense of betrayal from who was effectively his own blood family.
right,
His uncle killed his father right in front of him when he was a boy. The trauma of that alone would mess anyone up.
right,
But then it's on top of that, growing up in where are they in Oakland?
yeah, somewhere in California.
Growing up,
Compton.
yeah, somewhere like that. Growing
Yeah,
up destitute, orphaned, abandoned by two nations: the U.S. because how they treat us out here,
Hmm,
and Wakanda because of their whole hands-off, we don't deal with other nations thing,
hmm,
but we will kill your father. The reasons why were their own, because the dad was giving out info and giving out weapons and stuff. So you understand his anger in that regard. It's not just I need to just aim it all at Wakanda. He was pissed off at everybody.
hmm,
Where a Killmonger works is you understand the anger. Where you jump off is when he's in its totality of I'm going to make this situation where effectively all of us are going to get screwed up. His plan is dumb at the end of the day because at the end of it, it's it's him. No, it's him versus Wakanda
Right.
and what will eventually be every other nation on Earth. It was going to lead to a protracted war between Wakanda and the Dunkov move that he made was he burnt the herb. Let me burn the herb. The thing that gives us our superpowers, let me burn that, and then wage all out war against all the other nations, as if the Avengers aren't eventually going to show up with a Hulk
Yeah.
and all the other stuff. So it's like his plan is flawed, but he's so lost in that anger, that outrage.
Well,
He's what's the adage? The kid that is denied warmth of the village will burn it down to feel its warmth.
mhm,
The kid that's denied by his village will burn it down. That was two nations.
right.
Two nations we're talking about. He was
Now,
doing
now hold
too.
that thought. Now, this is the tie-in what the general was saying about the tropes, where it's pushing that particular character, the way it's written, the way it is in the movie. It's pushing the narrative, angry black man. You're emotional, regardless, and you're
So-
crazy. The whole concept
So
of the angry black man, psychology-wise, it goes by another name. There's a whole diagnosis for it, where the root of it goes back to slavery, where a slave wants to escape, and you must be crazy. And why you're not just dealing with what's going on? The problem with that character is that it feeds into the angry black man trope, and that's where it
does,
becomes
Seven,
dangerous.
but
You
at
could
the same
justify it,
time-
and I agree with what you're saying. I agree with how the story is going, Drew, but there's layers to it, and it's the same way we're upset how we took a white character and made it a black character and put it in color purple. You can give me all the reasons of why placing that, but the vibration, what people are left with subliminally, is the angry black man thing, and it's what they kind
I
of
think
did with.
superficially. If you're
Superficially,
looking at it from a
but most people are
superficially, sure,
superficial.
but at the same time,
Right.
you're not going to have that same type of reaction. Same character in the same universe. Magneto, right? Hates Nazis for understandable reasons. He hates humans for understandable reasons.
Right.
It drives him to do cruel things to both humans and other mutants if they don't comply, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not having this debate about the angry Jewish man. We're just looking at it from the character of a villain
Well, they
and what
never-
makes a villain.
they never
how
had
make
that.
him tick.
the thing is, if you could, it's weird.
They
because
do it. They do it with Magneto, but it's
Right.
we're not focused on the
We're-
Holocaust survivor.
We're
angle.
not,
I
but they
understand
haven't
where he's
had
coming from.
100 years or whatever years of, you know what I mean? Like, so you could almost put almost every race in our shoes in different scenarios, and it will never come across the same way because of all that
I
we've had
understand
to
what
do
you're
with.
saying. But and this is what we talk about with a lot of black directors. They do monetize the painful experience of being black, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk about people like Killmonger and you give them an actual purpose instead of just being angry for no reason, like we could talk about King Kong being a representation of the boxer Jack Johnson, right? That was just monstrous, right? And that's supposed to be angry black man, just a beast, right? Killmonger's different. The movies that we see today are actually different. I think what that guy was saying, it was a thing of the past. If we look back towards the past, we can say anything like white women or any woman pretty much who disrespected their husband, they were hysterical and they had to get electric shock therapy, right? You could say the same thing. If you were black and a slave, you ran away, it was a diagnosis. Whatever didn't fit the white agenda at that time, it was reasoned away.
Right.
But we're moving way past that. I think what we're talking about is still antiquated, and it's going to be a thing of the past. Give it 5-10 years.
I don't think it's as old and as outdated as you guys think, since it's still being done. There's plenty of rules where I look at them like they're doing the thing with the same black guy again. It's the same trope. It's the same crap. It's not as dead as you guys would have us believe, but there are some people that are taking steps against it. I myself, as a writer, I'd make it an express point not to write any of my characters in that way, especially the black men.
Right.
Especially the black. I take
100%.
extra time to make sure that they're not that.
Yeah.
So
I'm very careful of that too, because I think it's very alive and kicking. The thing is, it's done, and I think the sad part is that you have a lot of people of color in positions that are still, because this is what they grew up with and they don't know any better.
It's what they know. Yeah.
It's what they know.
I agree.
Right. And it's scary. And unfortunately, people do pattern their lives and their thinking around art. Life does imitate art. Because, oh, well, this is I guess the way it is. Or there's people that don't know people. They don't know that many people and they're writing, which is really terrible. First of all, you got to live to write. You got to get to know people to write people. But some people don't. So then they just go to the quickest trope that they could grab onto.
It's easy.
This is the one good thing about it.
It's what they know from watching fiction. If you're someone who didn't grow up around a certain group of people, you're going to glean your experiences of those people from somewhere else, someplace external.
Right.
And then you're going to walk around and perpetuate that in your own work. And then in many cases, not all, you're going to then walk around looking at that people and that person in real life as an extension of that trope. That's kind of where I want. Yeah. Sorry, Corey. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to round out with just saying that's something that I want to avoid. I think we should see less of this old, stocky, schlocky crap and just make them human. Mm-hmm. Make your characters human. That's interesting enough.
And that's what I was going to say. Okay. That's the one good thing about social media is that they are sharing that experience. We're getting it across the board. And it is leading to more black writers in these rooms, more actual directors. So that's why I say it's changed. It's going to disappear within a certain time frame.
So
within our lifetime.
We're going to end right here. But there's a movie that I don't know if you got a chance to see, Rounding Corey, but I thought of you because it has to do with medical. Okay. So this was great. And this is a good transition, but it'll be the next episode. So, Drew, Corey, thank you always of just speaking your wisdom and your truth. Is appreciated. Sometimes we might not always agree, but we agree to disagree, and I love it. I love everyone's perspective on the show.
That's where the good stuff is at.
Pardon?
Better conversations when we don't. Better the conversation when we just not necessarily at each other's throats, but when we disagree and there's a little blood in the room. That's good.
I'll take it.
Good. It's kind of good.
I'll take it. All right, you're watching GEEKCASTER. This is part 1. Part 2's coming. Awesome.